Hello, my YouTube world. This is Johnny Mill coming to you today with a official Ferris 3200 review. It has about 100 hours. Let's go take a look. The hour meter, 99.5. And since we are on the hour meter, I do want to suggest or make a fact known that this hour meter only runs when the blades are on. I'm not a fan of this. This is not a good system for me. I don't like it. I do cut lawns in neighborhoods where I just go from one lawn to the other and the blades are off, so that's not a true amount. So in my estimation, this mower probably has 120 hours on it. That's how I figured it out. So every 100, you're probably losing 20 hours of actual motor time. When I questioned Ferris about this, they simply said that they wanted true hard time on the hour meter. And that's basically what they're saying. When the blades are on, that's the most drag on the engine. But with these big pumps, if I'm going down the road at 12 mile an hour, full sticking it in a hot day, I think that engine is working pretty hard. So something I definitely don't like that Ferris has always done. It's not nothing new, just making you aware of it. The Ferris, I bought this Ferris 3200 with the Vanguard 37 EFI. It is absolutely a beast of an engine. And I don't care what Exmark says or anyone else says. And the reason why I say Exmark is because I went up to test drive the Staris. And I got on it. I ran around with it. I think they did a good job with it. I know a lot of people don't like it. Said it looks weird, I thought it was a good mower. I didn't like the engine options. And they gave me this line of bull where, you know, we're so efficient with the way that we do this. There's more of the engine power going to the deck. You don't need all that. Blah, blah, blah. Bull crap. I've owned the 28 EFI, the 25 EFIs. You want the extra horsepower. Because if you're cutting light grass, then you're not straining anything. This engine's going to last longer because more torque, has more power. It's going to last longer as opposed to a little 25 that's going to struggle a little bit. So I wasn't pleased with Exmark when they said that. I still think they built a really good machine. I think it's worth a look. But as far as the engine, this is the cat's meow. Nothing out there. Very fuel efficient for me. I've had no gas. Like you would think 37 EFI, it would just drink gas. It is no, as a matter of fact, it gets the same amount of gas mileage as my 28 EFI is. And I have to suppose that is because I made the 28 work a lot harder than the 37 did, doing the same amount of grass. We'll see when summertime comes. When summertime comes, that 28 EFI became very fuel efficient. So we'll see what this one does. But right now, the 28 EFI and the 37 EFI is right on par with each other. I'm using just as much gas out of both of them, so I'm very pleased with that. As far as comfort goes, guys, this is the mower, the 32 and the 2100. These are the mowers. These are the most comfortable mowers. These are going to save your back. These are going to save your body. And this is what cracks me up when you start talking to people about standards and different mower brands. This is where it's at. And I'm going to try to explain this to you. First of all, you're going to be faster with a Ferris mower. I'm going to explain that in just a minute. Just hold on. But these springs and that suspension seat, what they do is they take out the bumps of the lawn. And you might think like, oh, well, so what's the big deal? Because if you don't have something like that, you become the object because it transfers the bump to the frame to the human, to you. Same thing with a stander. Unless you got some type of suspension that is taking out all those bumps, you are receiving. You are the shock load. You are the final piece of the puzzle when you're on a machine. So let me explain to you why the Ferris, if you cut at 6 miles an hour and you use a Turf Tiger with just a suspension seat, and you cut with 6 miles an hour with a Ferris 3200 or a 2100. You will be more productive with this for two reasons. Johnny, you're sounding crazy now. Let me explain it to you, especially to those who just are ignorant to this. When you go over a lawn, say I'm cutting my side field here, there are little dips and grooves and bumps all through that. What you do instinctively when you on an X Mark or a Turf Tiger with just a suspension, you'll pull. Let's say you're a 6 mile an hour cutter. Let's say that you're a 6 mile an hour cutter. You pull back to 3 or 4 mile an hour because you're bracing your body for the impact. What happens with a Ferris is those little bumps and bruises in the lawn, those take them out and you just keep going. You don't slow down because the mower receives it. The shocks receive it. The seat receives it. Not the human. Same thing with a stander. You're standing. Your knees. Boom, boom. You're going up and down. Look, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and... This is what you look like on film. Up and down, up and down. Who's receiving that? That's you. That's you. There's nothing on that mower except for if you have a suspension platform that's taking out the bumps and bruises. It's you. That's why you feel fatigued at the end of the day. That's why I go, oh man, I don't feel so good. Whew, been a long day. It's just been a long day because the mower's been beating your body and your bones the whole day long. That's what makes Ferris mower the most comfortable and the most productive. That's why I like the Ferris mower. You can have a nice suspension seat. You can have that. But if you don't have the springs, these springs are going to take a major load off of you. That's why I think the Ferris Z3 is the best standard because it comes with the spring. It doesn't come with those little plastic thingies that they call suspension. That's not suspension. Suspension is a spring taking that load off of you. That's what you need. You need that. So, now I've explained to you why this would be more productive. It's 12 mile an hour at top speed. You cannot cut at top speed with it. Maybe in the summertime when it's really, really dry, you can really get up and get going. But as far as right now, no, you can't. It's about, if you can cut it, like I said, at 6 mile an hour, this will do you good. This will do you good. So, the ICD deck, I've done many things on the ICD deck. The ICD platform, I really love it. It comes with a wide discharge chute, much like the Skag has that big long opening. Underneath, if you look underneath, it's more baffled like a X-Mark Ultra Cut, but it's got that wide chute opening. So it's more baffled like the X Mark, but then it opens up there at the end and gives you that real big throat to throw out the grass. I do not own a bagger system for this. I own an accelerator. As you can see, the accelerator part's not on there. I have not bagged at all in the spring. I've been able to clean up every single lawn. Have not had an issue so far up to date. I have had some bad lawns, just the ICD deck, and I really believe more than even the ICD deck, it's just the power of the Vanguard that's really done a great job with this. The oil guard system, I haven't had an issue. Up to date, it is a 500-hour oil change. Even a break-in is at 500 hours. I still will change this every year, no matter what. I'm not going to wait 500 hours, but I will change it out once a year at least. I'm going to use the Vanguard oil. From all my research, it looks like to me that the Vanguard oil is nothing more than the Mobil 1 1550. That's what it looks like to me. That's just from what I research and what I come up with and the people I talk to and the people I know that would know, that looks like to me it's just Mobil 1 1550. So I'm almost positive you can use that in there, but I am going to use the oil from Vanguard. In fact, I just bought some of that when I do the initial oil change, which probably will not be this year. So right now I'm going to do the hydro gears. The hydro gears, here's the two filters, and this is what I'll be using, the 20W50. It is rated for, this is Mobil 1, but it is rated for conventional. 20W50. It's been tested, proven. I'm just a stickler. I think that this will keep those hydros cooler. I cut some acreage, and I have some lawns that have hills on them. So those are really hard on hydros, especially, you wouldn't think it, but the more acreage that you cut, it just keeps those pumps hot. They keep going and going and going and going. And I do have some lawns that have some acres on it, and they do have some pretty nice sized hills that go up to the house. So I want to keep those pumps as cool as I can. This is a very expensive as opposed to conventional 20W50. You can see I bought 6 of them. There's 5 and 5, and I bought one because it takes 10 quarts of oil to do both sides, 5 on one, 5 in the other. And you can see that, you know, that's pretty expensive at $9 a quart. You add it up, it get pretty expensive. But to me, I think it's worth the expense to keep those hydros. I think these hydros, if I'm not mistaken, are 2,200 a side. So I'd rather keep the really good oil in there. So guys, that's my review of the Ferris 3200. I'm sure you're going to want to know some things I don't like. So the 3200 has 26-inch tires on it. I don't like that. I'm going to show you why. Right here. You can see the outside part of that tire. It's just about the outside part of the deck. What does that mean? That means poor trimming surface underneath trees and stuff. And that's just extra weed whacking for you. I'm not a fan of that. It is pretty good on hills. It's not the best mower I've ever used on a hill, but it will get through all the hills that I take it on. I wouldn't go crazy. I do feel safe on it, not like the 2100. The 2100 was really bad on hills, maybe because it had the 24-inch tires. But what I did like about the 2100 is I had a better trim side. I had more of a trim side. I could get closer to things. Even getting up close to a mailbox is pretty difficult in the turning radius when it comes to that tire. So not a big fan of that. Obviously, I've already told you about the hour meter. I'm not a fan of that. If I had to compare the comfort of a 2100 to the 3200, it's pretty close, but I think the 2100 is a tad bit more comfortable. I don't know why that is. I'm sure there's a reason, but I just kind of like the 2100's ride a little bit better. But I'll take the hillside stability of this mower over the 2100. This mower is built like a tank. It is reinforced. This is a very well built mower. I think it's definitely built way better than a 2100. It's a tank. It should last an awful long time. I really like it. It's a great mower, and I would suggest it if you're looking for a mower, especially if you're looking for some comfort. To me, this is the granddaddy of the mowers, with the engine option, with the shocks, with the seat, the oil guard system. I just absolutely think that they hit it out of the park with this mower, and I give my full approval for this mower, for this whole review. Everything I said, even the things I said I didn't like about it. One more thing. Accelerator. This is very important. If you want to put an accelerator bagger on here, the bracket doesn't match up too well because these tires are 26. So that bagger hangs off and hits this tire. So you have to finagle that bracket a little bit. Not a good thing. Just a warning. Just a warning there. Just a warning about that. So as I get here, I'm going to go ahead and finish this hydro draining and get this video uploaded. Appreciate all you guys, with the channel, commenting, good or bad, doesn't matter to me. Really appreciate it. This is the Ferris 3200 review. The next thing to be reviewed will be the Pathfinder. The Ground Logic Pathfinder. I've been using this all first round. Can't wait to give you my official review on it. Stay tuned for the Ground Logic Pathfinder review. Nice machine. Later.